Hi, viewers. Yet again, this is Joanna Dos Santos, along with my beautiful colleague, Brian Mandy, here from our virtual home offices. And our topic for today is what to look forward to in your upcoming Thanksgiving holidays. And what is it that you can do differently because of some of the changes that you may have encountered? But overall, how can you find happiness? How can you find joy? New activities, new traditions that you can find in your Thanksgiving family holiday. So here we are today talking to you about this and what Thanksgiving looked for us pre-COVID. How did we celebrate it? What were some of our traditions? And because of where we are today, for some of us, it's colder states, maybe some states are a little bit warmer, is ability to create new traditions, ability to find gratitude, happiness, joy, regardless of what's going on out there. But Brian, maybe I'll have you start off a little bit today, since I recognize I can sure talk quite a lot in the beginning. So I'll leave this to you for a little bit.
Well, I think as we've spoken before, right? I think people are learning different ways to connect, because that connection is so vital to our humanity. And Thanksgiving is often a time when families can come together. It can also be a time, of course, when we think of families, traditionally it can be a stress as well.
Oh, yes.
And, right? And I'm wondering, if during this pandemic time, that in regards to the celebration of Thanksgiving, there can be also a solo practice within us about what we are grateful for during this time of pandemic, right? And find what we can be thankful for versus the contention and the issues that traditionally may come up during this time. I think in my practice, at least, the majority of clients who have an issue with Thanksgiving is often with family or with themselves, feeling lonely, life circumstances that seem to prolong and have taken a toll on their mood and their attitude or their optimism. And as we know, gratitude has a way of stabilizing us and increasing our positive mindset and keeps us going. It helps as a cooperator to hope, a component of hope that helps elevate our sense of strength and resiliency.
And I think what's also important is it's almost like we're covering 2 points, right? The part of what Thanksgiving looked like for us, families, Friendsgiving, right? I know a lot of people were doing that. And, traveling and bigger groups. And now maybe it's a little bit less of that. And not necessarily dealing with some of our family members who might be a little bit more difficult. Let's face it. We're not all quite friendly when it comes to families. There's always that someone who is a little bit more difficult, right? So maybe this gives us a bit of perspective that it's okay to do Thanksgiving in a more intimate way, where there's less of us, and maybe we can do it through those virtual, I know we're doing this today, right? Zoom or whatever other platforms there are that we can use. But you're right, can we look forward to Thanksgiving instead of just maybe saying it's not going to be the same? So in other words, looking forward to Thanksgiving and form a new tradition, and maybe even keep this tradition as it follows onto the next year. Not that we have to do the same thing over and over, but I think what we're trying to do in this recording today for our viewers is to find gratitude, to find optimism in how to prepare, what to look forward to, what new things to create that we can do ourselves, or whether we are alone, for some of us, or smaller family members, and how can we find enjoy? How can we enjoy this? Because we are so used to, I think all of us can say this, to a particular norm, things that we're always doing, things that are almost in bullet points of how we celebrate things, what we do, what we cook, who we see first, who comes to our house first. That this time around, it can look somewhat different, and that's okay.
And I think it's important that, I think, in anticipation of Thanksgiving and gratitude, the practice of gratitude, with the winter coming and, seasonal affective disorder that can affect us in the long run, the thoughts of Thanksgiving and the practices that can come with it could be a practice that help us get through even post Christmas and New Year when the celebrations are over, and that's when we see a drop of or an increase in depression and anxiety, right? Because what's next? People have a hard time not having something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps these new creative practices can be something that they can duplicate again, regardless of the commercial, celebration per se, right?
Right. And this kind of goes back into the topic that we did on how to find joy during the pandemic, during the winter months, right? Is also how to find joy during the holidays, and how to prepare for it now and not necessarily last minute. So maybe if you want, we can talk about some of the things that we're going to be doing and what we can encourage our viewers to maybe look forward to, some of our creative ideas, and what is it that they can apply into their, whether it's Thanksgiving, like you said, Christmas, or any other holidays in between that happen.
Yeah. Something that I do that I enjoy is creating art and writing postcards, messages, so that people are just not getting junk mail. And what I think I'm going to be more in tune to this year is writing gratitude cards to the different people in my life who have had a impact on me. And then also gratitude, just text messages as well. Something that is just a little more meaningful, and it's what I'm going to be doing in regards to specific people in my life.
And it's maybe more meaningful today, right? Because of this whole COVID situation. And I think what also, is what we receive back. Not that we necessarily look forward to receiving something, but let's say, for example, if I don't speak to someone for, I don't know, let's say even a year or more than that, and then all of a sudden I can send this card, text message or an email, and you'd be surprised what happens, what effect it might have after. It might create a friendship, renewed friendship, more gratitude. And that, once again, increases your ability to be even more grateful for more things and to look forward to more things. Because once you're able to connect one, right, the appreciation of what you have and what you give, and whatever it is that you receive back, or that feeling that you can register with yourself that it feels good, it just allows you to create more.
Yeah, my tradition this year is going to be different because we normally spend it with our godfather who passed away this year. So that's going to be a very, very different. Agenda or planning this year. But definitely during this time, I have to tell you, there is more gratitude to him than sorrow or loss, because it feels like he's ever present in some of his traditions, the stories about him and the stories about what we've had together, the silly ones, the meaningful ones, the heroic ones. They just seem to be more resonating in its power. And I think it's because of this purposeful mindset of seeing and searching and looking for what we're grateful for. I think there has to be a deliberate and purposeful intention to our consciousness, deciding what is it that I am going to focus on today. What am I going to focus on during this time of Thanksgiving? Some may argue that the history or the story of where Thanksgiving began is not a very pleasant one. So,
Right.
right. But regardless, what can we do based on the time that we have now and the relationships that we have to our modern day understanding of what it is as well. And in regards to its origins, right? How can we perpetuate kindness, and collaboration and unification? With the election coming on, with voting tomorrow, I'm sure there are all kinds of concerns about how divided people can be. And perhaps this can be another practice of, let us look at how much we can grow from the difference between us versus what separates us.
Very much so.
And yeah.
And I'm thinking like kindness, right? Is for many, it might be hard to, whether it's find gratitude or kindness, right? Because of the current situation and maybe not looking forward to the winter months and being indoors. But it's really, once again, about how we choose to. It's all about how we choose to look at it.
Yeah,
and
every difficulty, right?
Right.
Every difficulty, it doesn't have to be the winter, it doesn't have to be the election.
Yes.
Every single challenge or contrasting experience that we have, small or big, is an opportunity to practice decisiveness. Two roads diverge, and which one am I going to take? Can define my outcome. And
what's going to make me feel? What's going to make me feel good?
What's going to make me feel good? Absolutely. What's the next loving thing that I can do? What is the next reachable emotion? What is the next reachable memory or thought that just can help me a little bit get to that happier place?
And you know what's so great, and I know we kind of chatted about this too before, is what is it that we can do this time around that is so different, or maybe because we're forced to do different in some ways, but it doesn't necessarily have to feel forceful. It's the ability to use, whether it's creative side or creative brain, part of us that wants to explore different sides of us. And I have to say this, that one of the ways that I feel like my clients, or when I speak to some individuals, is that they're doing Thanksgiving, which I think is such a neat idea. And I know for myself, because I prefer summers and the warm weather, is some of my clients are really trying to do the Thanksgiving outdoors. For those that have, enough space, whether it's using their backyards, or I'm thinking patios, they're putting tents up if they have them. It's kind of like what the restaurants are really doing, right?
And outdoor heaters,
heaters for out. Oh my gosh. And it just sounds so great and satisfying. So that's what they're doing. And they're telling me, like, listen, if it gets too cold, then we have a plan B. And that is to go inside. We just have to, for those that are really concerned, right? Wearing masks, and having like the social distance Thanksgiving get together. And I'm saying this because when I had that conversation, I had it with one of my clients today, colleague. And that's what she said. And I thought that was such a great idea. Almost like, why didn't I think of this? Outdoors, it's going to be cold there, but there's heaters. There's ways to enjoy this. Get some little warm wine. I mean, I say warm wine because I'm Polish, right? So we do a lot of this warm wines.
Warm wine, the French.
I forget the name of it.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's so good, and it will keep you nice and cozy. So why not? And it's you don't have to just do it this year. You can maybe even do it the following year if the weather suits and permits, and wherever it is that we are. It can be a new tradition, and it can be something exciting to look forward to. We don't have to have 50 people, right? Once again, we're so, some of us, right? There's almost like this thin line. The caution that some of us are taking, and whether it's smaller family gatherings, whether we are seeing our grandparents or not, or distant relatives, or we're just using the Zoom. Once again, we can do this when we're outdoors, indoors, and we can plan it. It does not have to feel bad. It can feel good.
Yeah, how do we find flexibility and expansion within the confinements and boundaries that have been set upon? So we can still live. It's not very constricted, right? And so can our emotions find and flex and expand based on the circumstances that we're in right now.
And it feels good. Like I'm thinking of gratitude and kindness, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking, I have to say this, but how good it feels to do good, right? So
that's beautiful. How good it feels to do good.
To do good. Maybe some of us may not know this if we don't do it, but when we are able to do it and to recognize it, that it's a good feeling. I know for us, and I have to say this, so like I don't think we've ever done it for Thanksgiving, but I know for Christmas, we always had like an extra, that's just a tradition that we did, to put an extra empty plate, empty seat, just in case if it's a story. If a stranger knocks on the door and someone that needs shelter and food, that it's there, right? So once again, we could do this for Thanksgiving. We could, I know some of the things that we talked about is using arts and crafts. We can decorate our homes. I don't care. Use colored papers. We can become creative, fold things up, glue things together. If kids are there, ask them to become creative. They could do it.
Absolutely.
Buy groceries for your neighbor if you have to. I know many people have done it already, especially if you have elderly neighbors or family members. I just read this today. They have Thanksgiving dining out. So you order your Thanksgiving dinner. You can pick it up from, I guess there's a lot of different restaurants that are doing this. But that's the name of it. And why not? Even if whether it's you're doing it intimately or with less family members, order food in.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to be making kombucha. I used to have them, and I'm going to start doing it again today. And I'm going to see how it goes, because it's a time of festive food, right?
Yes.
And I've been thinking about maybe that's what I'm going to be sharing with some people, with my neighbors. Here, have some.
Maybe we can even include the recipe at the end of this recording.
I got it from YouTube. What I can include in our recording after this is perhaps a gratitude, a 30-day gratitude sheet, so that there can be a practice of what is one thing that I'm grateful for today.
Today.
Gratitude. Right? What made me smile today?
And our viewers can use it. If it's not for the month of November, we can use it in between of November and the holidays or Christmas.
Whenever they remember, so that they can look at a date, and so that what's the one thing that they were able to, that they found grateful for that day, and people look back and see where we are at and where we've been to,
and it could be small things, right? I mean, like you're talking about what you're going to make, and that could be one, right? I remember asking some of my clients a while back, what's one thing that you're grateful for? And one thing that stood out for me was when a stranger opened the door for me. So just recognize, you become more aware what's going on around you, to then find a gratitude and appreciation of what's going on, what you appreciate in life. And I think around this time, because we have Thanksgiving and other holidays coming up, we just had Halloween, right? And that was so different for many individuals. Is that you can appreciate whatever it is that you have. I said earlier, we have been introduced into this norm. We all have. It's there from a very early age, doing things because we're just so used to them. Or because we have to, right? There's almost that should and that have to in there. But I think once again, for this year, for us, for our viewers, is the ability to look at things from a new perspective. That even though that there's a change does not necessarily mean bad because of what's going on in the world. It can also mean good. Appreciate what you have, whether it is doing that dinner in a tent outside. Hopefully it doesn't snow. And if it does, great. You'll have white Thanksgiving. Why not build a snowman? Is that we can find appreciation in these things, or notes, these gratitude cards, right? The letters that you're going to be sending it's something new. And why not step out of our comfort zone? We won't know until we actually experience what it's like to then how good it actually might feel.
I think the practice of gratitude also helps us with our critical voice, that it enhances the loving and gentle voice within a lot of us, because my work with clients is that it's so much easier for them to come up with like what they think is bad about them. And then when we ask them, so what's good about you, or what's good about your life, and they sometimes have a very, very hard time.
Yeah.
And I think this practice of appreciation, self-appreciation, which is very identity reforming, right? To recognize the good that is within us, that those parts that we recognize then can become a dominant or a prominent part of our identity, and that those parts can help us during our difficult times. But that this practice becomes a practice where the resources of good and powerful and helpful within us are within our reach, and we can call upon them faster and easier to our accessibility. It helps soften. You just said should, right? In psychoanalysis, like the tyranny of shoulds, right?
Yeah, and we had that conversation. Right? Yeah,
It comes with obligation. It comes with guilt. It comes with regret, and it's a very critical voice. It's of a less than if you don't, and all that. So yeah, I think the practice of appreciation or gratitude is an extension of our capacity to do more. Optimism.
And saying that, but also, tying it back into Thanksgiving and the things that we cannot do, whether it is not being able to see certain family members because of a distance or because of an older age. Some individuals may not necessarily take it well, right? So being able to communicate this, why it's important that maybe we cannot see each other. And that maybe this is the year of this gratitude and appreciation and a little new norm that we can see ourselves differently. I mean, we both do. We have families overseas, right? So whether they celebrate Thanksgiving or do not, that's how do we communicate with them? It is primarily through the phone recordings, or thank God for iPhones nowadays, or Samsung, and the ability to use Skype and all the other beautiful video calls, right? Because we didn't have that back in the day.
Right.
So the ability to use some of these devices to reconnect, it's okay. Yes, they're tiring because we're using them a lot more nowadays, but if it's the only way that we can connect because of inability to connect physically, then that's what we have to do. And we can appreciate it. We can play games. I hear a lot of clients who are using, I don't know, I have not done it, but these different platforms to play games with one another, and they're not even in the same house. So that's great. Why not?
Yep, absolutely.
I know one thing that I have to say that I started doing probably in the last 3 weeks, and I think for our viewers already knowing this about us, that our J's are from our Myers-Briggs conversation, Greg Myers, and is that the J of us stands for the ability to be disciplined, structured, the need to perform and finish tasks. But what I started doing is on the Sundays, which normally I would get up, take a shower, and do my typical Sunday routines, whatever they may be, is now I just take my time. I don't even shower in the morning. Is I take it later on and I just sit in my pajamas and I just relax. I have not done this in a while. So I'm actually really enjoying this. And my daughter finds such appreciation for this, where she now, of course, she wants me to sit in pajamas all day. I think I could do that. But it's part of appreciating it, that it's okay to do this. It's a little different,
Right.
but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
As they say, gratitude is a mood stabilizer.
Yes.
So, Joanna, as we close, what is one thing you would say that you are grateful for today?
Can I have few?
Yeah.
I think because of COVID, I realized how grateful I am, one, for our conversations. I do find gratitude in these recordings that we do. I think it goes back into just us being in a private practice and not being able to physically see each other and have great conversations, that we do it through this. And of course, my family, because I'm able to see them a lot more, communicate with them a lot more. And I see my daughter. I am grateful to see her grow, and some of the conversations, she's 6.5, and the conversations and the words that are coming out of her mouth are, where did you learn this? Like, she's such a little lady and a 6.5-year-old child, that it's just amazing to see how nicely she blossoms.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely health. I do have to say health. I think at this point, once again, because we're entering the fall season, that there's just, I take a lot of anxiety and stress for many individuals because COVID and flu season, cold season, that it's just a combination of everything. But health, and whatever it is that I could do to take care of my health, whether it is to step outside, take extra vitamin, that's what I have to do. And hopefully it's something that will maintain.
Absolutely.
That the health will maintain.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Yeah. What are you grateful for, Brian?
Well, for all the things that you've said, but if I had to pick one specifically for today, I'm trying to think which one. But if I had to just say one, today I had my first guitar lesson, so to speak, but really practicing again with another friend of mine from Capoeira. And because Capoeira is so much part of my life, and I've not been able to do it for the past year really because of certain circumstances. Today's practice of the guitar was a way to get back to the creative and returning to a practice that incorporates singing, learning, interacting with another friend, music. It was just such a wonderful hour of 45 minutes.
What an experience.
Of playing the guitar.
It's gratifying.
It really, really, really was. And so I'm looking forward to, and just like how we have our Monday conversation, that practice is the hour before that. So at 4:00, I have the guitar lesson, and at 5:00, I have our conversation with us.
And for our viewers, yes, we do. Brian and I, we record these recordings on Mondays. So by the time we actually, because of course we have full-time jobs, we can't just record and post and send it. Is that it takes us a little time to
Joanna at the time, because she's got to edit it.
Yes. And we do what we can, and it feels good, and we are grateful for it. It boosts our we say this, right? Serotonin levels, our dopamine levels, that we just want to do it more. It feels so good to do good. And this is why we're here. I get so excited when I say this. It is. And we always said this too, and this is at works, and hopefully for our viewers, one day we can do this live. Hopefully one day we can do this live, where it just works better for both of us, and that we can be ourselves as we are here at Do It Live. So we hope that you found this recording great. I know Brian had said a little bit earlier that we have voting tomorrow. So yes, we are recording this on November 1st to be exact, because it does take us some time to edit, and we have other recordings that we are posting prior to this final one. So for all of our viewers, I hope you're happy and grateful for these recordings. Please leave us comments. We will post the links to some of the discussions and some of the things that we're talking about right underneath our YouTube channel. So if you have any comments, please comment, share. We already see some of you being able to comment, and we are so grateful for that. And we respond timely matter as quickly as we can. So please continue to share. Please continue to comment and let us know, once again, what is it that you would like to hear or what would want us to talk about. So once again, thank you so much. This is Joanna with my beautiful client, colleague, Brian, mixing up my words here. Have a beautiful and wonderful day.
Have a grateful time ahead.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.